I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it.
Nah.
You know, if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody going to clean it up.
Right, this is the thing. This is a reminder to all the viewers out there. When a story takes a life of its own, you have to be responsible with that. Aqua was built up to be very intelligent, and he really should have figured out a way to take out, quote unquote, his father, because of what the father was gonna do, regardless to his sister. And you decided to take yourself out and allow your sisters to still be in the landscape? Like, you didn't even do anything to clean the landscape itself. A civilization, it doesn't matter which civilization, any civilization is meant to be updated. No capping. Tangibly, you are supposed to update the civilization. It's not going to be easy. There's things that do not exist in the civilization at the moment that you have to figure out how to make it exist tangibly so that it could benefit the majority of people in the physical reality and not benefit them specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples in the physical reality.
Delivery Message Protocol Light Novel Volume 1.
If you're tired of the
Prologue.
worst of the worst embodiments, extracting too much of the population's currency, and then inexcusably misusing that currency in inexcusable shady ways and to throw it into dead-end programs and offshore black budget projects, it's more just Danny Clasillero that pointed it out. There's been too many grown adults in top fields of information that have changes of heart, and they decide they're not okay
I laughed,
with the worst of the
wiping
worst
off the splash
embodiments,
with my sleeve as the little
misusing
creature
the
blinked at
currency
me with
they
round,
extract out the population
unapologetic eyes.
to then threaten
Charming, I
actual
said,
innovators,
craning it
researchers,
closer.
scientists,
Guess
to
you're
buy
not
out
a fan of
wicked-hearted
heartfelt
politicians and
reunions.
threaten judges in the
You don't
judicial
remember
system.
me, do you?
It's in front
My
of you.
name's
There's
Kaho.
too many grown
The salty
adults
breeze
who
caressed
have been
my
coming
cheeks as I
forward
knelt on the
onto
warm,
many
damp sand. The baby
podcasts
seal
and
nestled
alerting you about
comfortably in my
everything that's
arms.
interconnected that
Its
shows you
soft
the state and
fur
actual
was
bigger
cool
picture
against my skin,
about what's going on in
a
history
gentle
right now
contrast to
in
the
real
sun's
time,
warmth.
in the environment, the physical
I looked
reality,
down
in the
at the little
landscape
creature,
of
its
the
eyes
particular
closed in
civilization.
contentment,
And the
and
only
couldn't help but
problem
smile.
that is like the top priority
It's been a
problem that
while,
has to be
hasn't
solved
it?
across the
I
continent
murmured,
is
gently
each
stroking
continent
its
has to
back.
clean its room
I
and
miss
find
this
tangible
place.
ways
And you,
to make the physical
the
reality
seal let out a
to where
soft, almost purring
you
sound,
can
nuzzling
identify
closer.
all
I
them
chuckled
specific corrupt
softly, the sound
oligarchs,
carried
bad
away by
apples,
the wind.
that have to be
From the
drastically
look in your
defunded,
eyes, I can
drastically
tell you're
decreased,
wondering why I'm here.
discontinued,
I'm
destroyed,
helping out my
defeated,
cousin again.
counterbalanced,
I
and legally
continued,
eradicated.
speaking more to
That's
myself
more
than
than a
to the
mantra,
seal.
it's a reminder.
She's still researching the
It
seal
applies to
population
you
here.
and those
It's
that you
peaceful
will call
being
your
back.
loved ones individually,
I had
collectively, and
returned to the
civilizational
secluded
scale.
marine reserve to
Break that
assist my
down.
cousin, a dedicated
Because if
researcher
you continue
devoted
to
the
allow
study
the worst
and
of the worst
preservation of
embodiments to
these
continue
creatures,
misusing currency, they're going to keep
memories of past
destabilizing not
summers
just the
spent here
economy.
flooded back.
They're not just going to
Days
worsen
filled with wonder,
the price of
learning,
food.
and a
They're not just going to
deepening bond
worsen
with
the
the
dead. They're
ocean
not just
and
going
its
to
inhabitants.
worsen mental health.
The
They're
seal
not just
nestled
going to
closer, its whiskers tickling my
inexcusably,
arm.
psychologically, and
I chuckled
biologically
softly, running my
overpollute
fingers along
the
its smooth
environment
head.
locally across the major
You might
cities and
not
the
remember
continent
me,
against
but
a
I
majority
remember
percentage
you.
of a particular
Or
civilization.
maybe one of your siblings.
They're not just going to
You all look so
destabilize the
alike.
people around you in your community
As I
across the
continued
major
to
cities. They're
stroke
not
the
just going to
seal,
do
it
that.
shifted slightly,
They're going to keep
turning its head
withholding
toward
vital
the vast
information from
expanse
you.
of the ocean.
They're going to keep misusing that
Its sudden
currency
stillness drew my attention,
to
and I followed
strategically and
its
desperately
gaze.
get rid of evidences.
The
Do you
horizon
want that
stretched
in
endlessly.
the environment?
The
Is that the
sky
type of
and
physical
sea
reality
melding
that you
into a
want?
seamless canvas
No.
of blues and gold.
And this is a reminder
My
we're going to
eyes
continue
settling on the
providing.
horizon
The
where the sky
Declaration of
met the
Independence
sea.
was not made by
Then
itself. It was
a
made by those
whisper,
in their
ethereal
20s.
and distant,
And
brushed
actual
against my
meaningful
consciousness,
updates
Cosmic
that benefit the
molecular
core
ocean.
population,
echoed in
that
my
benefits
mind,
the
as
majority
if
percentage of
carried by
people in
the
the particular
wind
civilization,
itself.
it's not going to come from those in their 50s. It's not going to come from
Molecular
Congress that
ocean.
itself
I stiffened,
is
my heart
inexcusably
skipping a beat.
overpolluted and
The
has to
words
be
felt
regulated,
both
has
foreign
to
and
be
familiar,
counterbalanced,
resonating deep within my soul.
has to be, as
I
stated,
glanced
actually
around, searching for the
updated.
source, but the beach
Step
remained
back and stop
deserted save for the
blaming
two of us.
destabilized people.
I
Be more
blinked,
precise.
startled. There was no one
You know,
else on the
If
beach.
you want actual
I heard it
accountability,
clearly.
you're going to have
Not
to go
in my
about making a
mind,
stronger network.
not
You're going to have to
imagined.
gather fellow
It was
bright
a
minds
whisper, audible,
and place
out
the
in
new
the
required
open
overdue
air.
infrastructures,
I turned my head
the
immediately.
new required overdue transaction
Nothing.
laws,
The beach
and the
was
new
empty.
required overdue
The wind was
open
light.
source ledger and
There
accountability
was no one
button.
nearby.
Having
No
comprehension.
speakers, no aircraft.
You're going to have to help fellow
Nothing
bright
that could
minds
have made
place
a
the new
sound
required
like that.
overdue
but I had definitely
infrastructures
heard it.
and the
That
new
was when
required
I
overdue
felt the
transaction
seal go
laws
still in my
and the new
arms.
required overdue
Its
open source
body,
ledger and accountability
relaxed just a
button.
moment before, had
If you're
tensed.
curious about what
Its
the
head
open
was
source
lifted,
ledger and
staring directly
accountability
toward the
button is,
ocean.
we're going to be
Eyes
providing
wide,
an
unblinking.
extensive
The seal squirmed
discussion
in my
and
arms,
blueprint
its eyes
that
wide
fellow
as it
bright minds
stared
can add
out at
on
the
to.
ocean.
This is not about debate.
Did you
Today's
hear
debates have
that?
already happened. This is a
I
matter
asked,
of
my voice tinged with
adding on to the
uncertainty.
knowledge and insights
It
in the
reacted at the
discussion
exact
and in
same
the
time I heard
blueprint.
that voice.
That,
I knew
as
it
stated,
couldn't
is going to
answer.
actually help the
I wasn't
majority
expecting
percentage
it
of particular
to.
civilization.
I asked
You
because I
cannot
needed
have
to
back and
confirm I
forth
wasn't the
anymore.
only one who had
You as
reacted.
humanity, first and
But
foremost,
the
have to get on
wave
the
had
same page
stopped
where it
at the
counts the
same
most.
moment,
There's
so
no such thing as
suddenly
evil
it felt like
technology.
more
There's
than
no such thing
coincidence.
as
Because in
evil
that second,
information
the seal
in
was the
terms of
only other
religions.
living
All
thing
religions
there,
are beautiful.
and it
It's
had
only how you
noticed
use
something
information.
too.
It's only
It
how you
remained
use technology. You
motionless,
have to get
eyes
more
fixed
precise
on the
about that.
horizon.
Stop
The
blaming the
air grew
government.
thick
Get more
with
precise.
anticipation,
Start
and
making
an
the environment
inexplicable
the
pull
type of
urged me to
environment where
stand.
you
With
can
the
get
seal still
precise.
in my arms,
Where
I
you
rose
place
to
the
my
tools
feet,
that
my
will allow
gaze
you
never
to get
leaving the
precise
sea.
about the worst of the worst
And in
embodiments.
that
The
moment,
ones
it
that
was
had
the
went
only other
unchecked.
living thing with me on
That
that
cannot go
beach.
unchecked anymore.
The
The
seal
worst of the
squirmed in
worst
my
embodiments that
arms,
had went
its
unchecked
eyes wide as it
until
stared
the
out at the
unchecked
ocean.
ends now.
I
The
tightened my
worst of the worst
hold,
embodiments unchecked
offering
ends now.
comfort.
You're gonna have to
Then the
update the
sea
particular
began to
civilization, make it
change. I looked
self-regulating.
back at the
And the
seal.
new
It
required
stared,
overdue open source ledger
unmoving,
and
toward
accountability
the
button is gonna
water.
help you with that.
And then
It's gonna
the
benefit the
rumble.
physical reality,
A
the
low
majority
rumble
percentage of
echoed from
people,
the depths,
and
and
it's
before
not gonna
my
benefit the
eyes, the
specific
water
group of
began to
oligarchs, bad
swell.
apples. And if you're curious
From the
about how it is
horizon, a
gonna
massive
benefit
wave began to
the majority
rise.
percentage of
A
people,
massive
listen to the
wave
stated
rose from the
insight
depths, unlike any
about
I
the
had
new
ever
required
seen.
overdue
A
open source
colossal
ledger
wave
and
surging
accountability
upward,
button.
towering above me, casting a
It's going to
shadow that
actually
engulfed
help
the beach.
the majority percentage
Within
of
the
particular
wave, a
civilization.
radiant light shimmered,
And in the
pulsating with an
comments,
otherworldly glow.
list down below what you
Time
see in the
seemed to
landscape.
freeze.
What do you
The
want
seal
to
trembled
become
slightly in my
non-existent in the
embrace,
landscape?
but I
What do you
held it
want
firmly, offering what
in
little
terms of
comfort I
actual
could.
accountability?
I
What would
stood
you like to
frozen,
see? What type
mesmerized
of
by the
infrastructures
spectacle.
would you like to see?
The ocean
That's
heaved,
gonna
gathering power,
cause
the
the
waves
environment to
pressed,
look a
glowing
specific
with a
way that
bright,
benefits the
sharp light
majority of
pulsing
people and
just
doesn't
beneath the
benefit all them
surface.
specific group
The
oligarchs,
wave
bad
began
apples that
to
have been holding
curl
back this particular
forward.
civilization.
It was
Because
coming.
if you
I
don't do it
turned
right
away
now,
and crouched
you
low,
don't keep
shielding the seal
postponing it. It
with my
doesn't make any
body.
sense. You're
I
not supposed
held
to
my
postpone
breath.
things that
1
you gotta
second,
update.
2,
And
no
that's just how it is.
impact, no
And if you don't
water,
put the message out
just
and
the
you don't know
sound
how
of
to
the wind.
transmute
I opened my
and help
eyes.
align populations,
Slowly, I
because
turned
that's
and
what it's
looked
about.
over
It's
my
about
shoulder.
percentages, helping
The
align
wave was
the
gone.
populations.
The ocean was drawing
That way
itself
you can
back
help
to
the majority
normal.
percentage of the
But
particular
above it,
civilization.
the light that had glowed inside the wave was now rising. It shot upward in a clean, fast arc, piercing the sky with impossible speed. I watched it climb higher and higher until it vanished beyond the clouds. It moved fast, too fast for my eyes to track. Within a matter of seconds, it vanished into the upper sky, flying out of view. I kept watching, but it was already gone, completely out of my sight, just like that. I stood there, breathing hard, still holding the seal. The ocean was calm again. What was that? I muttered. The tide moved in gently, brushing my feet like nothing had happened, but I had seen it. I stepped forward slowly. Did I really just see that? I held the seal close, my eyes still on the sky where the light had disappeared seconds earlier. And that was where everything began. I held the seal close, my eyes still on the sky where the light had disappeared. I didn't know what that was, but one thing was clear. Something was happening. Even if I didn't understand it yet, it had already begun. It had already begun.
Delivery Message Protocol Light Novel Volume 1. Prologue.
The baby seal sneezed right in my face. I laughed, wiping off the splash with my sleeve as the little creature blinked at me with round, unapologetic eyes. Charming, I said, cradling it closer. Guess you're not a fan of heartfelt reunions. You don't remember me, do you? My name's Kaho. The salty breeze caressed my cheeks as I knelt on the warm, damp sand. The baby seal nestled comfortably in my arms. Its soft fur was cool against my skin, a gentle contrast to the sun's warmth. I looked down at the little creature, its eyes closed in contentment, and couldn't help but smile. It's been a while, hasn't it? I murmured, gently stroking its back. I miss this place. And you. The seal let out a soft, almost purring sound, nuzzling closer. I chuckled softly, the sound carried away by the wind. From the look in your eyes, I can tell you're wondering why I'm here. I'm helping out my cousin again, I continued, speaking more to myself than to the seal. She's still researching the seal population here. It's peaceful being back. I had returned to this secluded marine reserve to assist my cousin, a dedicated researcher devoted to the study and preservation of these creatures. Memories of past summers spent here flooded back, days filled with wonder, learning, and a deepening bond with the ocean and its inhabitants. The seal nestled closer, its whiskers tickling my arm. I chuckled softly, running my fingers along its smooth head. You might not remember me, but I remember you. Or maybe one of your siblings. You all look so alike. As I continued to stroke the seal, it shifted slightly, turning its head toward the vast expanse of the ocean. Its sudden stillness drew my attention, and I followed its gaze. The horizon stretched endlessly, the sky and sea melding into a seamless canvas of blues and golds, my eyes settling on the horizon where the sky met the sea. Then a whisper, ethereal and distant, brushed against my consciousness.
Cosmic, molecular ocean.
Echoed in my mind, as if carried by the wind itself.
Cosmic, molecular, ocean.
I stiffened, my heart skipping a beat. The words felt both foreign and familiar, resonating deep within my soul. I glanced around, searching for the source, but the beach remained deserted save for the two of us. I blinked, startled. There was no one else on the beach. I heard it clearly. Not in my mind. Not imagined. It was a whisper, audible, out in the open air. I turned my head immediately. Nothing. The beach was empty. The wind was light. There was no one nearby. No speakers. No aircraft. Nothing that could have made a sound like that. But I had definitely heard it. That was when I felt the seal go still in my arms. Its body, relaxed just a moment before, had tensed. Its head was lifted, staring directly toward the ocean. Eyes wide. Unblinking. The seal squirmed in my arms, its eyes wide as it stared out at the ocean. Did you hear that? I asked, my voice tinged with uncertainty. It reacted at the exact same time I heard that voice. I knew it couldn't answer. I wasn't expecting it to. I asked because I needed to confirm I wasn't the only one who had reacted. But the way it had stopped at the same moment, so suddenly, it felt like more than coincidence. Because in that second, the seal was the only other living thing there, and it had noticed something too. It remained motionless, eyes fixed on the horizon. The air grew thick with anticipation, and an inexplicable pull urged me to stand. With the seal still in my arms, I rose to my feet, my gaze never leaving the sea. And in that moment, it was the only other living thing with me on that beach. The seal squirmed in my arms, its eyes wide as it stared out at the ocean. I tightened my hold, offering comfort. Then the sea began to change. I looked back at the seal. It stared, unmoving, toward the water. And then the rumble. A low rumble echoed from the depths, and before my eyes, the water began to swell. From the horizon, a massive wave began to rise. A massive wave rose from the depths, unlike any I had ever seen. A colossal wave surging upward, towering above me, casting a shadow that engulfed the beach. Within the wave, a radiant light shimmered, pulsating with an otherworldly glow. Time seemed to freeze. The seal trembled slightly in my embrace, but I held it firmly, offering what little comfort I could. I stood frozen, mesmerized by the spectacle. The ocean heaved, gathering power, the wave's crest glowing with a bright, sharp light pulsing just beneath the surface. The wave began to curl forward. It was coming. I turned away and crouched low, shielding the seal with my body. I held my breath. 1 second, 2, no impact, no water, just the sound of the wind. I opened my eyes. Slowly, I turned and looked over my shoulder. The wave was gone. The ocean was drawing itself back to normal, but above it, the light that had glowed inside the wave was now rising. It shot upward in a clean, fast arc, piercing the sky with impossible speed. I watched it climb higher and higher until it vanished beyond the clouds. It moved fast, too fast for my eyes to track. Within a matter of seconds, it vanished into the upper sky, flying out of view. I kept watching, but it was already gone, completely out of my sight, just like that. I stood there, breathing hard, still holding the seal. The ocean was calm again. What was that? I muttered. The tide moved in gently, brushing my feet like nothing had happened, but I had seen it. I stepped forward slowly. Did I really just see that? I held the seal close, my eyes still on the sky where the light had disappeared seconds earlier. And that was where everything began. I held the seal close, my eyes still on the sky where the light had disappeared. I didn't know what that was, but one thing was clear. Something was happening. Even if I didn't understand it yet, it had already begun.